Hey y'all, what's good? It's your boy Crosados back at it again with some more Mecha Break. And
Ready to strike.
today,
Pilot
the
proceeding
match,
on
the matches
board.
I'm gonna show y'all today are gonna be all my ranked matches that I recorded. Some of
Taking
my
off.
best wins and one of my toughest losses.
Narukami.
But
Moving
yeah,
in to
again,
provide
like
cover.
I feel like this game is pretty well made. Like I was thinking, I was surprised when I found this rainbow, to be honest, because I wasn't actually looking for it. But the fact that I found it, I was just kind of like, well, damn, this game literally has everything. And the one thing I'll say off rip about ranking is, again, just understanding your typing and what your typing is weak against. Because, like, at a point, I do feel like if you're doing your job well and you're like, weakness is on the field, they're gonna probably hunt you down. Like every time I get to like my main losses are because of like the jets are following me and they're super hard to get away from especially in the air, on the land. If they hit me with missiles, it's like 50% to like 70%, and I don't have any ballistic defense yet, so it can be pretty irritating. I also believe like if you, I don't know if you can come into ranked with a preset team, but if you do, I feel like you just will never lose. Like this game seems very heavily team oriented. It is very team oriented, right? So having like a pre-stack kind of will just destroy any like group of randoms because again, no one's really communicating. They're just all kind of doing their own thing. That doesn't make, if that makes any sense. But yeah, my other goal while I play ranked is just to simply figure out better vantage points that are maybe a little harder to get to. I feel like right now, as I'm shooting all these people down, I realize like my Gundam has like this, because of all the mods they put on it, has this glaring weakness of it can only snipe from specific ranges. See, in that sense, that aerial sensory type, it just hunts me down, man. There's nothing I can do about it. I either hopefully have 100 HP and I use my clones to kind of beat them in numbers, or I get assistance of some kind. But again, when I'm in random lobbies, like it's hard to, like, you just don't expect that shit, you know what I mean? Like you kind of just play off of your old skills, right? And yeah, I don't know, like the drones can be really easy for people to destroy, especially when I'm trying to lock onto them. And like you can there's mods, right, to where you can lock onto things faster, right? And so I don't know, I feel like as I'm going through these ranked games, I can kind of notice the type of people who have like quality mods on their Gundam and people who are kind of just running their Gundam bare. The only way I can really explain to you guys how I notice it is based off their movement. Like again, like how I said in my prior game, like there are some mods that give you better movement in the air, better movement on the ground, right? And so sometimes if I see them like really moving fast and kind of just controlling like specific airspaces or ground spaces, I can kind of be like, okay, this guy has some sort of like aerial mod or ground mod. For the chunky guys, if I'm doing 0 damage to them, I'm just assuming like they have some sort of defensive mod for like lasers or something. I feel like for the chunky dudes, lasers are their big weakness. So like if I'm doing 0 damage to them, I'm kind of just like, well, I don't know who's gonna kill this guy, especially if they have like, they're in a party and they have a healer. Like it's damn near impossible to try to kill them, I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of why I was hoping that there was gonna be a sniper mod to increase my damage, because if they just have resistances to it, I might as well just get armor penetration, and really improve my sniper's capability. But it looks like it's not really, like, from what I could tell, the mods aren't really based off of increasing your weapon. It's more like increasing survivability and your mobility. So, which is like fine to an extent, but like again, my Gundam is kind of like a glass cannon, and I can't find any. I haven't gotten any ballistic mods yet, so you know it's a little weird because you know I'd rather be focusing on damage because that's what a sniper's supposed to be doing, is like one-shotting people and you know, doing a lot of damage. But you know, it's just like I can't focus on that. So now I have to kind of try and figure out, you know, what defensive mods are good for me other than obviously ballistic. But you know, in my opinion, it's hard because again, if it's not like increasing my glaring weakness, or like again, if the health mods, they're very specific, right? So if I increase one aspect of a health mod, I remember seeing this off of a purple one, I reduce my max health, which is ridiculous. Like, who would want to reduce their max health for like quicker health regen or something like that? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense in my mind. But yeah, I probably just have to go and spend more time in Mesh Mech, but right now I just kind of want to experience different game modes, just to keep, you know, my enthusiasm for this game kind of fresh, constantly experiencing new stuff, you know. I get sniped, which is unfortunate. The heavy sniper in my mind is just like mad different, because he could just stay in the air forever and just snipe people. Like, it's kind of crazy. I actually don't know if that was the heavy sniper, but I think it was. Pretty sure it was. But yeah, so the heavy sniper, he just can float in the air and just shoot people down. And honestly, like, it's cool, but like, I don't know, dealing with so many of the aerial types, it's just like, I don't know how my aerial types aren't making his life a living hell. But again, if I'm on the ground doing my job, I'll instantly get like 2 or 3 people just trying to impede my progress, right? Which is unfortunate. While I'm playing ranked, like, I realized, like, obviously there are like 2 main games, right? And one big game mode is objective based. You're either getting some sort of points or moving cargo, right? And then the other one is basically team deathmatch, right? And for the cargo one, I tend to try to just set up and protect the cargo, because obviously why wouldn't you? You're a sniper. But I feel like to some extent, like, depending on how educated your team is on like the game mode that you're ranking in, right? Sniper shouldn't have to be on payload for the payload to move. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case for my fellow snipers out there, you might just have a shit team. Like, I've had that happen. But like, just because you have a team that's not on the payload doesn't mean that you can't win. I've had wins where I was the only one pushing payload, and you know, we managed to win. I just, you know, relied on my clones, and you know, I just did what I could. You know, I did what I can. First win of my rank session too, and it, you know, honestly, it felt pretty good because no one was bothering me in this run, right? But when people start becoming wary of you and they realize, like, hey, you're kind of a problem, that's when the rank game becomes more of a hassle, right? Because again, I've had some pretty irritating losses where I felt like I just simply couldn't play the game. Like, no matter where I set up, where I decided to play my game and trying to help my team out, right? They had set either 2 to 3 people on me to like kind of impede my progress. And don't get me wrong, my Gundam is pretty swift, and you know, she's pretty mobile, right? But when you have sensory types chasing you, there's no escape. It feels like sometimes you can get away, but it can feel pretty insurmountable at points, especially when again, there's 3 people on me, right? But my teammates are like doing nothing, or like they're fighting one person and it's like a 1v5 situation, and they're taking forever to kill them, or they die. You know, it's just kind of like, at that point I'm just kind of like, what are you guys doing? You know, it can be, again, it can be really frustrating, especially because, again, like, I feel like if I could increase my aerial mobility and my ground mobility without losing one or the other because I picked one or the other, you know what I mean? I feel like it could be a little bit easier to stay alive as a sniper, because again, as a sniper, you want to just kind of stay, you know, stay in like safe vantage points, you know, stay out of the line of sight, right? And just kind of play your game. But when they find you or when you get your kill, you know, you're prompted to move. A proper sniper, as soon as they get their kill, they immediately change location, right? But you know, the lower, because this is lower elo, I only made it to silver 4, I believe, by the end of this recording. So like, they're not, the people I'm facing aren't like too prominent in their job, right? Well, the snipers are anyway, or aren't anyway, but like, I feel like everybody else, you can kind of just face roll low key and just like do something, right? Like, people like I really do feel like the other mechs they're kind of just, to some extent, they're just kind of like running in and doing their thing, you know what I'm saying? Like, the jets are gonna fly in a circle around the combat zone just to drop bombs, you know what I'm saying? The more tankier Gundams and brawler Gundams, right? They're just gonna run in and face roll, and there's not really much you can do to slow them down other than shoot them on entry. But sometimes that can be a little bit more challenging depending on how good the pilot is, right? But I digress. There are ways to beat them. You just have to be a little bit more crafty. But yeah, it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge, especially when I feel like the camo is, if against a good person, is easy to track. I have had instances where there's one mech that I'm thinking of in particular where he can just throw out this field of smoke that gives him camouflage, and you can see him in the camo, like, you know what I mean? And as I'm fighting more Narakamis, I'm realizing, like, you know, you can just kind of notice, like, follow the line of shot, right? And kind of just find where they're shooting from and shoot them down, you know what I mean? So again, I feel like it's just the different levels of play are starting to become apparent to me, right? And I just have to incorporate how I think I should be leveling up my game plan, especially after this session. But yeah, in this is the payload variation that I was telling you guys about. So instead of pushing payload, I realized my team is pretty aware. They're pretty aware people, so I decided to play offense by defending their payload with a couple of good old boys, and it screamed success for us. I'm not gonna lie, like, they definitely weren't able to get near this thing for a good chunk of time, and at a point I realized, like, you know, I'm only gonna stay at this spot so long as our payload's moving, right? And we'll see if they can get the payload to its destination without me intervening too much. Ooh, another thing about this game is that they have executions, right? So imagine, like, you know, your Gundam can get different types of executions, but I warn you, as soon as you start doing executions against people who communicate, they're gonna start targeting you pretty heavily. That was something that I had to learn the hard way, especially because, like, I don't know what exactly the execution does for you other than make you look like a badass, but I execute just to do it sometimes, you know what I mean? It's cool, I like how it looks, you know, and if they give you the option to change up the, like, how your character is, what your character is doing when they're executing, or like what your Gundam does to execute, I'm totally down for it, you know. But yeah, if you're versing a team or a group of people who communicate, you know, it's just like, hey, this guy executed me, and now you have like 3 people trying to dog you down because you wanted to be cool for 5 seconds. which can be a little annoying. But yeah, you know, it's whatever, you know. I'm still gonna do it. It doesn't stop me there, but you know, I gotta embody the sniper. You know, I gotta get my kill and move. I'm thinking at this point, after playing these run games, that aerial movement is kind of like unnecessary for my mech. I was off recording, right? I was playing Mesh, and I was realizing that maybe me being on the ground more might be better. But again, when you have both options, I want to be kind of good or moderately good at both options to survive, right? But you know, that's not in the cards for this game, unfortunately. I guess they don't want a mech to be too good at too many things, right? Which is unfortunate, but figuring out what my mech is gonna be good at is definitely the big overarching goal of what I'm trying to do. Especially since I can't increase damage. Fuck, it sucks, but what can you do? What you can, right? So. Waiting for everything to load in, bro. I'm telling you. And I'm not gonna lie, some of these maps are fucking awesome, dude. Like, the one map that I'm gonna show you guys at the end, it was all water based. You know what I'm saying? And that just leads me to believe that they could be water type Gundams that actually do better in the water than others, right? Because there is some level of mobility hindrance when you're underwater, which I thought was very interesting, right? So it does play into that factor of there could be different types, like just like how there are jet type Gundams, you know. There could also be the water types that are really good underwater and also have some fairly good use on land. But it's all about, like, again, how they incorporate some of the stuff that they have. You know, they could just have these water areas and not really utilize them until it's too late, you know. But you know, I'm still very excited to see what happens. I'm just curious on what the type of mechs they're gonna bring into the game, because there are some mechs that do like a multitude of different things, right? Like, in my opinion, like, obviously the sniper has to be good at like long range combat. That's like the whole purpose of it. But like, imagine having a Gundam that's also really good at close range, like very assassin-y. I think of maybe even drawing some ninja aspects from it. Like, my mech in and of itself has a few like ninja aspects already pulled from it, right? The whole, you know, stealth, you know, long range action. But I imagine it having like maybe a melee weapon, or pulling more from that assassin-y archetype, you know. Maybe I don't want to say throwing kunais, because then I'm thinking of FC's mobile suit, right? And if that's the option, I'd rather just have that in the game, and you know, pilot that. But yeah, like, again, this game could go so very far with the type of mechs that they could throw into the game, you know. But if it's all about if they're going to do what people are expecting, or if they're gonna only throw in like mechs that are inspired by these other variations, but not exactly them, right? Which would be completely fine if they only want to go with like things that they think of, but they like kind of inspire it off of other things. I'd be completely cool with that. Especially if they do like a Code Geass tie-in of some sort. There are some really insane mechs from there, really insane Gundams from there. I'm thinking of the one with the gigantic Magnum hand that melts people off rip, right? And I'm thinking that that could be its execution too. It just grabs you and melts you. And there's the bundles. There are bundles in this game, right, that come with like a specific color for a mech and the pilot that coincides with that mech too. I could see them also bringing like a lot of anime tie-ins from that as well, to kind of like shake up the game, give it some more content, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. I don't find like the color system and then the custom person that comes with the mech. Like, I guess it's cool, but I don't know. I like having my own like person. You know what I'm saying? That I've made, and then like customizing the mech the way I see fit. That just shows that the execution isn't safe, right? But that's fine. But yeah, so I don't know if the mech custom bundles with their own pilot are for me in particular. Maybe I'll have to wait until the code Geass, if it does happen, comes out, because I would drive as Lelouch. I won't lie, he's like my favorite character in Code Geass, especially how he fucking gets his plan off near the end. That shit was fire. I don't care what anyone says. If you hate the Code Geass ending, you just hate cinema. I don't know what to tell you. When they were playing Viva La Vida at the end, while he was bleeding out, and then you see him in the fucking on top of the hay with C2. In my mind, I'm like, dude, that's fucking gold, bro. He got everything he wanted. You know what I'm saying? He got everything he wanted. Reset the world, give everybody like happiness, saved his sister, killed himself, and then fucking went off with the love of his life, man. Like, you can't, like, I don't know how you hate on a man like that. It's crazy. But yeah, you know. And speaking of stories, this game's story is kind of, I don't know, like different. Like, you're basically just, I think you're trying to figure out what Corite does to like the populace, right? Corite is basically like this. It's like this weird rocky substance that you find all throughout the game in certain maps, right? And the Corite, from what I remember hearing briefly, it can like fuse with the person and make it kind of like a symbiotic relationship. I'm thinking kind of like Venom in Spider-Man, right? And I guess there are like some people trying to harvest the Corite, and you're trying to stop the people from harvesting it, or something like that. I'm not too sure, but you know, I find it interesting. Like every Gundam show, every Gundam like game, they have like their niche. But the battle is over, and I remember hearing in the story that it is like Earthlings versus like the Martians, quote unquote. But like the Martians forget that they're from Earth, and the Earthlings think that they're like different from the Martians, type shit. You know what I'm saying? So, it's interesting, right? It definitely does pull from, again, those Gundam tropes that if you're a long-standing fan, you're used to, right? Which I enjoy personally, but again, like, I haven't really continued the story mode other than like the basics, right? I should have like dashed to the side there. Dash to the side, jump into the water, and just like vanish, right? But again, I'm trying to get used to some of these maps. Like, again, the water map, I'm not gonna lie, because your movement is reduced in water, right? I don't want to just try and use that as my escape route and then kind of like hinder myself. But at the same time, you know, you gotta get out. Dying takes forever to come back, so you know, in all my rank games, I'm trying to die very little. Like, if I die about like 3 times, I'll say I've done a good job. If I died 3 times and I've gotten over 6 kills, I've done a pretty decent job. If I go even, I'm kind of nettled, but I'm not too mad about it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Again, gotta remember that the objective of this game is to get your objectives, right? So, I'm not going to be chasing kills too much, but at the same time, you know, I definitely do want to increase my overall stats, because even though this game mode in particular is about getting these objectives, right? I don't feel like everybody knows that or cares. You know what I mean? So it can be a little frustrating. I'm thinking it now as I watch this this run, right? I'm thinking to myself, maybe I do increase my health. I focus on increasing my health and making my shield a little bit more durable. Just increase my overall resistances rather than focusing on my movement, right? I feel like if I am a sniper and I'm a very durable sniper that does decent damage overall, then it could be pretty irritating, right? As I'm playing more of Narukami, right, I feel like her design was based off of like a wasp. So, you know, I'm trying to float like a butterfly and sting like a very deadly wasp, you know what I mean? So, trying to incorporate that kind of idea into my game plan, but again, I need the right mods. I feel like the people who spam mesh mech for the longest time and get like all the mods they want before they get into like ranked, they're probably gonna have a lot easier time, especially once they figure out like how they want to build their mech, you know, how they want to improve it. Also, I think like just in general, just spending predominantly a huge amount of your time in mesh mech might just like improve your overall game throughout all the other game modes. Like I do think that there are gold mods. I don't think I know now because I saw the crafting system in the game, and if you get 10 of one color, you can get one of the color above it, right? And there are gold mods, but I haven't lucked out and found a gold mod on my own type shit. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to just save all the purple ones that I have for when I try out different mechs, or if I want to just like craft a gold one just to see what it's like, you know what I mean? But I don't know, I feel like when it comes to like games where you can kind of like it's RNG based, you can kind of like find it throughout the world, throughout like the specific game mode that they allot to get those mods and stuff. Like it's better to find it because it just feels like more, you know what I'm saying? You have to battle to find it. Now you have to battle to keep it. You come out of the like look. I hate that mech. The fact that it can get like trap you in a little mini cage is so stupid. But like again, like this is where this is why I kind of wanted to improve my sniper, but I don't know why I'm talking about it when I can't do that, because I wanted to pop the cage as fast as possible so that way I can maybe escape a little bit better, right? But it's unfortunate that that's not likely, that's not possible. But what can you do? You know, what can you do but what you can? In those instances, if I ever get caught again, I guess I'll just have to fight it out and see if I can make it, you know. But yeah, at this point in the game, I'm thinking to myself, okay, we have a chance, right? If I just have to keep trying to get the objectives, because I feel like I'm the only one really getting the objectives. But you know, I look over and I see that we have all of them, which is like pretty cool. If you have all the objectives, you're basically either gonna bound to come back, or you're gonna steal the lead in a pretty aggressive fashion, right? But yeah, it's hard, man. Like, it's not written in stone, you know what I'm saying? So I'm really just trying to keep my team lead. Like, I'm not even gonna front, but I'm not trying to leave myself vulnerable.
Ready to pick off some stragglers.
Again, like there are like there's like a team recruitment thing in this game, right? And I don't know if it's like for comp or just like it's like a guild. But yeah, I am definitely trying to look for one. Though, like, they don't give you a list. It's like you have to get a code, so it makes me think that's more like compy.
Amateur.
Now they have all of the objectives. I'm trying trying to get them, but y'all saw as soon as I tried to get anywhere near it, I got 2 people shooting at me. That's not, it's not good.
Locking in to harass enemy defense.
Drone deployed.
To have the Giga Tank on the objective makes it super hard for me to get anywhere near it. The fact that he can still see underwater is insane, and then I get shot from the back. Again, it's just super hard. I don't even see any of my teammates trying to really push for these objectives either. It's kind of unfortunate. Oh yeah, guys, if you don't know, I am streaming on Twitch. Check out my Twitch at Corrosive Dose with a 3. You know, look for Cammy. That's always gonna be me. And yeah, we're gonna wind down to the end of this video.
Narukami, moving in
As I
cover.
climb back in, trying to save the game, but it's getting pretty close. It's first to a 1,000 wins, right? So yeah.
Optical camo drone will soon go offline.
I'm gonna be doing by the time this video releases, it's gonna be my birthday, right? So I'm gonna do kind of like an Independence birthday stream. So yeah, come pull up. Let's chat, let's vibe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.